All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to honor everyone's time. We're going to close the doors. So at this time, we're going to start the next session. This session is called Collaborate With Us, Building Communities and Developing Programs in Pre-Service Secondary STEM Education. Just want to preface that to make sure you're in the right room. All right, and we're going to close the doors now. Come in. Bonjour, everyone. My name is Karen Colbert. I'm the General Education Department Chair and Lead Math Faculty at Keweenaw Ojibwe Community College. I'm also a representative from the American Indian College Fund Faculty Council, and it is my honor to present some peers of mine today. I'd first like to introduce Heather Bleecker and Danny Luecke. So Dr. Heather is a National Board Certified teacher. She started her 20-year career in education as a high school math teacher in Long Beach, California, and Polson, Montana. Heather joined the Salish Kootenai College faculty in September of 2018 as a secondary math director. She currently serves as the Director of Secondary Education in the Division of Education. In 2021, Heather was honored with the Dr. Bill Stannard Award of Excellence in Undergraduate Mathematics Teaching in the state of Montana. She's passionate about supporting STEM teaching and learning in K-12 classrooms, integrating educational technologies, and mentoring pre-service teachers. When she's not busy with mathematics and education, Heather loves to row her oarboard on Flathead Lake and go hiking, and she also creates t-shirt quilts. So you have to ask her about that later. And the next presenter, so they're going to co-present. So the co-presenter is Dr. Danny Luecke. He's the developer and lead faculty for the bachelor's degree in science and secondary math education at Turtle Mountain College. His design for the program is focused on Indigenous math content and pedagogy. He earned his PhD in math and math education at North Dakota State University. His research focuses on Dakota Lakota math connections at Sitting Bull College, as well as the Ojibwa Michif Math Video Project at Turtle Mountain College. He was born and raised in Fargo, North Dakota. He's an enrolled member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and his ancestors from multiple European nations as well. He seeks to honor the Creator in spirit and truth through his life and work with the Standing Rock and Turtle Mountain communities. Today, Heather and Danny will talk to us about building communities and developing programs in pre-service secondary STEM education. Welcome.
Salish Kootenai College. Welcome everybody. My name is Heather Bleecker and I'm a professor at Salish Kootenai College. Might be me.
Just say hello. Like I said, the introduction. My name is Danny Luecke, and thankful that y'all are here with us.
So our session goal today is really to collaborate as a group and build some relationships in here in developing and preparing secondary STEM education students. So at Salish Kootenai College, we have both a secondary science program and a secondary math program. And we're going to be looking at the curricula, the learning environments, and some program development. So particularly for Salish Kootenai College, we're trying to revise our secondary education programs from being a math program and a science program into a cohort-based model, focusing on Indigenous STEM, as well as students building relationships with local schools.
Awesome. At Turtle Mountain College, so we have a teacher education department of elementary ed, secondary science, secondary English, and then I'm the secondary math instructor. So we just graduated our first cohort of secondary math education students. They just very exciting to have a new faculty as well. To have your first bachelor's graduate. So we're in the process of transitioning to a fully online secondary math education program. For a couple different reasons. But one of them is hopefully the opportunity to partner with other TCUs and other communities to make our program more sustainable. But while continuing our emphasis on our cohort model, as well as place-based, language-specific, Indigenous math. And so we bring these goals to you and hoping to also collaborate and discuss. So I'll share a little bit more. So this is maybe not how you typically see a bachelor's program kind of laid out, but I just wanted to share this diagram of here is our program. This is all, every class that they need to take. It's broken up into 2 rows. They're like freshman, sophomore year or pre-cohort courses. And then their cohort courses is that bottom row. And then 3 kind of main areas. You have your generals, which includes English, native languages, and other things. And your education specific courses. Most of those are with the cohort of elementary ed and others. And then you have your math specific courses, and those include kind of your typical Western math sequence in the secondary math, as well as the Indigenous math classes also. And so this diagram again is to kind of share. Here's what we offer. I don't have a diagram of it, but our program tries to balance Western math with Indigenous math, Western ways of teaching and learning, and Indigenous ways of teaching and learning. And when I say Indigenous, there's multiple elders in my community who don't really like that word. They say, no, it needs to be, our community. And that's why I always try to emphasize the place-based, language-specific detail and kind of core idea of Indigenous math. So that's kind of a broad view, a broad picture and degree plan of our entire program that we're trying to move online. So every one of these classes, or the cohort, not everyone is offered every semester, but the cohort of these classes is moving to be a fully online program. So hopefully we'll talk more about that in a moment.
And this is a similar view of the secondary degree program plan of study at SKC. And this was established back in about 2013. And then it was recently retired in 2022 to revitalize and revision and make this integrated cohort model. Primarily, this was brought to us by our local administrators of public schools, asking for our students to be more engaged in building relationships at an earlier stage. So instead of waiting until their junior year to get into classrooms, to try to get them into classrooms right away as freshmen. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a column of some proposed new education courses that all have at least 10 hours in a local school. Some are up to 50 hours in a local school. That are giving those students opportunities to build those relationships. And we've also been asked to try to integrate the STEM courses, and that also helps with faculty capacity at SKC. Right now it's me, and I would be teaching about 30 different classes every time they're needed. And so if we can take the science methods class, the math methods class, and bring it together, that will reduce the amount of courses we have to offer students. So in that middle column, you are seeing all of the classes that are taken by our math students that are content-based, including the science courses they take. And on the right-hand column, you are seeing the science education students and the math courses that they're required to take. And they both have the opportunity to take some electives where they can choose a focal area. We are on the quarter system, so that's kind of an important thing to note. So our total quarter credits is at 176, but semester-wise, we're at about 117. And one of our breakout sessions today, you'll get to kind of take a look at these courses and content and see if it's a good path for an integrated Indigenous STEM program. So we're going to do a little different presentation today. We're going to put you guys into some breakout groups. We have 3 different areas of discussion. The first one is to look at the SKC degree plan of study, the coursework mapping, and give some feedback and advice. The second one is looking at curriculum that's both Indigenous and STEM. What do we say is Indigenous? What do we say is STEM? What should be included? What shouldn't be included? And then the third one is to look at that online learning space, both in synchronous and asynchronous, and really build that collaborative community of online learning.
Absolutely. Ooh, hey, stronger than before. So we ask that you kind of congregate, choose your topic and congregate. Maybe we can do like, breakout group 1 over here, kind of 2 somewhere in the middle here, and then 3 over there. So I know to ask you to remove, and then you'll be sharing out. So you'll have about 10 to 15 minutes in your small group. We have some guiding questions, and which I'll actually go to next. And then each breakout group will have an opportunity to share their guiding questions. So you see the guiding questions. We also have them printed off. So maybe we can hand those out, or I can hand those out.
Yep, we'll bring you a piece of paper that can get you into the slide deck. If you'd like to do digital note taking, we're also going to bring around some chart paper if you like to do some charting, and you've got papers and pen next to you as well. So once we get to your breakout groups, get you some supplies here.
So again, I think, is this group 2 right here? Breakout group 2. Breakout group 3 looks like it's focusing on that table. And then 1, where does 1 want to be? Wherever y'all want to be. This is 2 right here. Is 1 back there? A 2's right here.
This
2's right here.
Sticky, so when you try to lift it, be careful. It might stick to the table.
Meet someone new. About 10 to 15 minutes to try to think about, discuss some of these questions, and then we'll do a large group share out after that.
Yes, we have a chart.
It's on now.
Yep. Oh, mine's on.
And yours is on too, so I just turned it on.
All right, we are going to bring us back as a whole group. Yeah. And we're just going to ask each group to kind of share out a little bit about your discussion. Group 2, are we ready? They're finishing up real quick.
Finishing up key discussions. That's
Yeah.
the collaborative part of it, right? But yeah, we definitely don't see ourselves as the experts, right? That's why we created the session in this way, to hopefully hear from all of you. So I'm gonna hand the mic to whoever the speakers are in your group. So then it's also on part of the recording. So I'm handing it to.
So we created our own assignment and we were neither group 1, 2, or 3. We kind of explored and asked a whole bunch of questions. I think one of the things that the whole group here agreed with is getting students in front of the classroom immediately, just so that they have that front of the classroom experience and really can tell whether or not they want to, in fact, be a teacher in front of the classroom, or they're just interested in education and other educational venues. One of the other things that we were chatting about was the concept of the endorsement as opposed to the degree itself, and kind of the challenges with trying to run so many classes. And especially when, you have such a small group of students that you don't necessarily get enough students to run the class. And then you run into these issues around running them out of order or not being able to run them at all, and that the student doesn't get to graduate. And then that's a big hurdle that a lot of us face. So one of the things with the concept of the endorsement is the potential to, whether you have it online, virtual, or otherwise, I guess in person, is that it could be integrated in the current setup. So students that are in this class can add the additional 1 credit equivalent hours per week. And you're encouraging then most of the students that are already registered to take that endorsement. But you could also then open that up for everybody else to earn the endorsement who's already a teacher in the community. So those are kind of some of the things. Anybody else? Nobody else wants to talk. So.
And breakout group 2, which kind of looked at the curriculum and what it means to be Indigenous and STEM.
Yeah, sure. Anybody else? No. It's not fair. All right, so with me, and we talk about curriculum that is both Indigenous and STEM. One of the things that we kind of came up with is this idea that teaching a process ain't gonna change, but using our lens to teach that process is ultimately what's gonna change. So one of the things that we were talking about was just simply within our lessons, and he bring up math questions where the vocabulary inside of the math itself is something that our kids are not familiar with. Kind of like that old writing prompt that I used to do in school. If your feet are in the ocean, what are you experiencing? Well, I don't know. I've never been to an ocean. So my experiences were based off of the creek. Well, you see a lot of pebbles. Well, right off of the bat, I'm wrong, because you're going to see a lot of sand. So my experience, although it was not wrong, what I was describing, it was from my lens. So I could clearly do the process, describing a different environment area versus looking at their environment area, which is the ocean. And I'm just a reservation kid from the middle of Montana. So good luck trying to find a beach there. Well, there is sand though.
There
I
is
did
sand.
get sucked up by that.
Thank you, Cody.
Yeah, absolutely. That place-based Indigenous math.
And breakout group 3 talked about the online learning environment and what we can do to make that more efficient.
Just a quick comment about what you said about beaches and sand. We live in Tucson, Arizona with the Tohono O'odham Community College, and the joke is always, all of the sand and none of the water. So regarding online offerings, I think that we had a very robust conversation, and mostly I think what it distilled down to is that one institution doesn't have to do everything, and that's really the beauty of a well-crafted online program, is that with, you know, the appropriate use of articulation agreements so that courses can be applicable for the students' next phase of their academic progress, that this really helps facilitate, you know, the development, and you know, more students will take advantage of high quality online classes, creating partnerships with institutions so that there isn't a feeling of we're sending our students to some other school to study something, because we're not. They're still our students. They're getting a really good class somewhere else, and we've taken the time to vet these courses. There was a really good conversation about creating these collaborative partnerships and developing a curriculum that works on that structure. So for example, you know, students can take courses that at schools that particular school is really good at. So not every TCU, for example, offers calculus. And so you find the school that does calculus really well, and you create a partnership with that school. We also talked about working with national organizations. ACES, for example, can provide opportunities that some TCUs can't provide. And of course, this goes hand in hand with building quality online classes. So if you're taking the time to really think through all of the components that make a successful online class, so that students are getting the benefit of the same benefit that they would in the classroom, then there is this, it will, again, your programs will grow and students will be able to successfully accomplish those learning outcomes. Recognizing multiple languages. So at Tohono O'odham Community College, for example, we have lots and lots of online programs, and we have free tuition for all Indigenous students. So we have students in our classes from all over the country, and we have to be very cognizant and aware of what that means to them. And I am sure that other schools have similar, if you have a big online program, that you definitely need to be aware of where your students are from and how to best reach them. We had a gentleman here who was talking about practicum requirements, and in secondary education, that can be a tricky situation, because what is required in California is not necessarily required in Arizona or Montana or elsewhere. And so in thinking through these things, there needs to be a level of flexibility in terms of how you work through things like practicums. And finally, mechanisms for sharing common core courses. So we all have things that we specialize in, but most of us, if we sat down and looked at our curriculum, these common core classes are the same. And figuring out the best partnerships for offering these common core courses while you are maintaining the quality and the expertise with your faculty in your own courses will help you strengthen your online programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for having those discussions, sharing out. Oh, I guess we did that. So I have a few comments I'd love to share. Just in response to some things, I heard one comment that I really just want to reemphasize. So often our TCUs talk about partnering with our state, like I'm in North Dakota, so we'll partner with the University of North Dakota State, and just that kind of paradigm shift. No, let's partner with that tribal college in the other state, or and kind of a shift. You're not losing students, but you're adding another degree program, a degree offering to your TCU that is partnering, maybe a 2+2 or, you know, whatever it might be, but instead of your predominantly white institution, wherever you're at, with another tribal college. I just heard that and I wanted to kind of challenge maybe or kind of rethink that paradigm. I really liked that. Yeah, that was one. Do you have any comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Lunch, thank you all for this discussion. It's been a challenge navigating secondary education and working at tribal colleges where sometimes we feel a little isolated in our communities as one person heading an entire department. And these kind of conversations are really helpful to move the work forward and benefit our individual communities and our students. A lot of the students that we serve at SKC come from other tribal communities and are really just trying to make a difference in the future educators, in those little children. So if we can make change and make it a little bit easier and place-based, and really the students make connections with one another and with the community, that's truly our goal. So the best way we can get there is just to come together. And I do like the ideas of building partnerships. And if anybody is interested in learning more about secondary education at SKC or Turtle Mountain, I'll be doing the roundtable session tomorrow afternoon. Feel free to bring your ideas or questions if anything else comes to you in the next day or so.
Yeah, absolutely. And then along with the roundtables tomorrow, I'm thankful I'll be talking specifically about the Indigenous math classes tomorrow as well. That tension of how do you have it place-based, language-specific, if it's an online program. And so that's something I really have been thinking about a lot and talking about a lot, and I hopefully you'll join for that. And as she said, we're looking to partner. So if your community says, yes, we want more high school STEM teachers from our community, you can stay in your community, get your bachelor's degree, get your teaching license, and become a high school teacher. So thank you all very much. Yakoki, miigwech.
Lunch.
Is it still on? All right. Miigwech to both Heather and to Danny. I did want to give Heather an opportunity. So this was a co-present, but I did want to give Heather an opportunity to talk a little bit about, she does have a research project that she is looking into, and she is also looking to partner. And I think it's important for people to know. I think a lot of times we do things in our silo because we think that there isn't anyone out there to help us, but I wanted to take a minute or two and just talk about your pending research project that she is trying to develop and what her needs would be if she needs to reach out to your institutions.
So as part of the American Indian College Fund, I'm a Drum Fellow researcher, and I am looking to create a developmental math course kind of certificate program so that TCU students could take one course online from any community, have one faculty member teach that course, and then that replace the developmental strands at your TCUs, kind of like a placement exam would put somebody into a degree-seeking course, that there would be the ability to complete developmental math and go right into the college-seeking degree without students having to pay tuition and reduce financial aid and all of those kind of things. And with listening to the partnerships, I would like to grow that to any math class. So the colleges without calculus could have students join that and beyond. So if you're interested in learning more about potential partnerships and how your college can get some higher level math courses, as well as serve the developmental math students, please come see me while you're at the conference.
And specifically, it's a research project. So she has a research question that she is trying to answer. And that research question may be something like, what are the barriers to? So when she's asking you, are you interested? She's also asking you, what would the problems be if I came to you and said, I want to create this collaboration? What would all of the steps be that I would have to navigate in order to make this happen? Because this is a research project that she's looking to have the IRB done pretty soon, sometime by August, because David is like pushing us. So she'd like to have that IRB done by August. So she's really looking for people who are willing to partner with her and help explain in your communities, if she was to develop a program like this, what would the barriers be to make this happen? What would all of the questions be? Where would she have to go for those resources? Right, and how to articulate what those benefits would be. All right. Okay, well, thank you, miigwech, everyone, for joining us for this session. It's now time for our break, so we are ending right on time. We want to honor everyone's time. Remember that we will reconvene after lunch, for another round of breakout sessions, so please check your agenda. There will be breakout sessions in this room. I think we're going to continue to use the same 3 rooms, so please check the agenda and be on time for these really amazing sessions. Miigwech.